Hello everyone, this is Teacher Benjo from the city of Balanga National High School. Welcome to another episode of my science video blog. And I'm really excited today because we're gonna be talking about a different topic this time. So to all my students out there, particularly the grade 8 students, welcome to my channel. Well, so as you can see, a lot of you are familiar with the signages over here or the symbols. So oftentimes we can see this in the popular game called Mobile Legends. So for all of my students who's playing Mobile Legends right now, what does this symbol means to you? Okay. All right. So, well, symbols or ranks in the Mobile Legends is important. So, in relation to our topic for today, we're going to be talking about ranks. But we're not going to be talking about ranks in a mobile game, but instead, we're going to be talking about ranks in the ecosystem or in our system. So, today, we're going to be talking about trophic levels. There you go. So we have here the what we call producers, herbivores, primary carnivore, and top carnivore. So these are the things that we're gonna be talking about. So once again, I am your teacher for today, Benjamin Joseph Bilimibao, your science video vlogger for today. All right. So let's move on. So for our learning competency for today, we will be talking about to describe the transfer of energy through the trophic levels. So we're gonna be talking about levels. Are you familiar with that? So for all of you that who's not familiar with the trophic levels, we're gonna be talking about this one today. So let's first unlock the definition of trophic level. So it says here that a trophic level of an organism is the position it occupies in a food web, a system of interlocking and interdependent food chains. So what does a food web means and what does a food chain means? A food chain, on the other hand, is a sequence of transfer of matter and energy in the form of food from organisms to organisms. So a food chain is pretty much a straight line, you know, from the producer to the last one, which is the decomposer. As you can see on the lower left picture. So this is a good example of a food chain. So we start from the producer, which are the plants or the grass. Primary consumer, we have a secondary consumer, which is the mouse. The primary consumer, the mouse ate the grasshopper eats grass, and then the mouse was eaten by the tertiary consumer, which is a snake, and then the egg was eaten by a hawk, and then it was decomposed. On the other hand, food web is a sequence of interlocking and interdependent food chains. So there's a lot of food chains. There's a lot of animals, insects, that eats each other. So it's all, you know, like a web. It's like a food web. So as you can see in the picture on the lower right picture of the screen, there are tons of different animals and insects that eat each other, you know. So depending upon where the arrow goes, that's what they eat. All right. So that's what it means. So it's a food chain and a food web. So this is just a review of the things that you have learned back when you were elementary and back when you were studying a little bit in grade 7. Right, so the three basic ways in which organisms get food are as producers, consumers, and decomposers. So we're gonna be talking about that one. Let's talk about first the producers. So producers are also known as autotrophs, so you have to remember that. So are typically plants or algae. Plants and algae do not usually eat other organisms but pull nutrients from soil or the ocean and manufacture their own food using photosynthesis. For this reason, they are called primary producers. So, primary producers. Primary meaning they are the initial producers. In this way, it is the energy from the sun that usually powers the base of the food chain. So the sun is the source of the energy. An exception occurs in deep sea hydrothermal ecosystems where there is no sunlight. Here, primary producers manufacture food through the process called chemosynthesis. So, pretty much all I want you to remember, the producers are pretty much the plants that we have here. Alright, plants or algae, it depends. So, producers are also known as autotrophs. So, where does this plant or green leafy things get their food or their energy? They get it from the sun. Alright, so they are the primary source of our energy, these producers. Okay, producers, on the other hand, or autotrophs, can create their own food. That's what makes them, that's what sets them apart. As compared to us, we need to eat. I mean, them they can create their own food using the process of photosynthesis, and the sunlight plays an important role in that. All right. Next one, we have the what we call consumers. Consumers are also known as heterotrophs. Earlier we talked about producers, which are known as autotrophs. This time we're talking about consumers, which are the heterotrophs. Are species that cannot manufacture their own food and need to consume other organisms, right? We cannot. I mean, these consumers cannot manufacture their own food. They have to serve. They have to eat other organisms for them enable for them to survive. Animals that eat primary producers like plants are called herbivores. So if these consumers eat plants, they are called herbivores. Animals that eat other animals are called carnivores. So, and animals that eat both plants and other animals are called omnivores. So these are the example of secondary consumers, primary consumers. Because animals are classified into herbivores and carnivores, right? And if the animal eats only grass or plants, they are called herbivores. But if they eat other animals as well, they eat meat, they are called carnivores. If they eat both, they are called omnivores. And these are the example of animals for each. So consumers are the one that consume. Producers, on the other hand, they are pretty much the source of our energy, like the plants. They are also known as the autotrophs, and they can manufacture or create their own food. Unlike the consumers, they cannot. All right, so let's talk about this one. We have the decomposers. Decomposers, also known as detritivores, break down dead plants and animal material and waste and release it again as energy and nutrients into the ecosystem for recycling. So decomposers such as bacteria and fungi, or also known as mushrooms, feed on waste and dead matter, converting it into inorganic chemicals that can be recycled as mineral nutrients for plants to use again. So these are the decomposers, and they are important. They play an important role in break down dead plants and animal materials and waste and release it again as energy and nutrients into the ecosystem for recycling. All right? All right, so talking about trophic levels can be represented by numbers starting at the level 1 with the plants. Further levels are numbered subsequently according to how far the organisms is along the food chain. So for the level 1, we have the producers to the top. All right, we have level 2, level 3, and level 4. So, trophic levels can be represented by numbers starting at level 1. With plants, further trophic levels are numbered subsequently according to how far the organisms is along the food chain. So, we have level 1 for the plants, that's on the bottom of the pyramid. It's a simplified ecological pyramid. That's why it's like a triangle. It's a simplified ecological triangle. For the producers, it's color green, also known as autotrophs. They are the level 1. Level 2, on the other hand, are herbivores, eat plants, and called primary consumers. Primary because they are the first one to consume the plants. Alright, they are level 2. Level 3, carnivores that eat herbivores are called secondary consumers. Level 4, carnivores that eat other carnivores are called tertiary consumers. Alright, so tertiary because they are carnivores that eat other carnivores. All right. So last level on the very top is the apex predator. By definition, have no predators and are at the top of their food web. So they are the last one to eat, you know. So if you can see the percentage in the pyramid, so that's the energy that they get. For example, the primary consumers eat the food of the producers eats the producer or eats ate some plants over here. They get the 10% of that energy. What happens to the rest of the 90%? Uh, it probably became undigested, or it went somewhere, you know. Not everything was, or not everything uh, will be gotten by the primary consumers or the consumers, only just 10%. And that same goes with the other levels as they eat the other levels. All right, so they just get 10%. All right, so that's why the very top gets the few. So this is very important. The pattern is very important from apex to producer because each plays an important role in maintaining balance into our environment. You know, if one is not around, there will be a mismatch, or there will be an imbalance in our environment, you know. So it's really important to be able to have that balance and be able to know the simplified ecological pyramid. So these are the basics about the trophic levels, and there are more, you know. So yeah, that's pretty much it, all about my lesson for today. So I hope that you learned something today. I'm gonna be showing more videos about this one, so that just to reinforce our existing knowledge about the trophic levels. But for the meantime, I just want you to remember the terminologies and that I've mentioned earlier about about trophic levels. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching my video blog for today, for today's episode, and I hope you like it. If you have comment, please comment down below, and please like and subscribe. All right. So thank you so much once again. I am teacher Benjamin Joseph Lumibao, your science blogger for today. All right. Bye bye.